Alright then, just taking a quick look at Solana on our daily time frame here for another daily update on the channel. As we can see, Solana not looking too bad compared to the rest of the crypto space, at least the rest of the altcoin space. Solana here did not suffer from a huge liquidation wick. As you can see, Solana here did get a drop to the downside, but it was only around 25%. And on that day, we actually only closed around 16% down, which really isn't that terrible. And as you can see in the grand scheme of things, if we zoom out on Solana, it's basically just been a bit of a stable coin over the past few years, outperforming quite a lot of the market, especially altcoins. Obviously, Bitcoin has been slowly grinding up to new all-time highs in this manner like this. But Solana actually much stronger than Ethereum at the tariff dump at the start of the year. Ethereum obviously looked something like this, didn't it? Absolutely incredible moves by Ethereum. You can see this chart. This is an absolutely wild chart for Ethereum in my estimation. I mean, look at this chart. This is just absolutely incredible. Every time I see it, I'm like, wow, that is one of the best V-shaped recoveries I think I've ever seen. Massive dump to the downside. I mean, I can't believe we were down at $1,400 for Ethereum here. I'm glad that I average into this every month because I did manage to catch some of this nice move to the downside here, with some orders down lower at some of these Fibonacci levels as well. But you can see, very incredible stuff. Solana obviously did have a move to the downside as well. In fairness, after sweeping the liquidity of the all-time high, you can see we did come down and actually sweep both sides of this range we were in. You can see I highlighted this range last year. It was a pretty obvious range, coming up and down and up and down. And every time we came down to the low of the range again, I just started longing for Solana because I was like, well, we're just going to keep bouncing here. You can see I left one of the longs on the chart here so you can see what I was doing. I was basically just waiting for Solana to come down, wick down into this area of support where we just kept bouncing. And then I was basically just longing in this area over and over again, and then just taking profits at the high. I saw that we formed the range here. We've got the low, the high, the low. And then when we retested this low, I was like, right, I'm just going to long here because I think we're going to go back to the high. And then I longed, we went back to the high, took profits, came down again, longed here, took profits at the high, and then came down again, longed here, and then this one kind of bounced around for a while. But then eventually came up to the all-time high. As you can see, I did pretty well on this trading this range here. And as we can see, we've got the consolidation, the break, the retest, the continuation here. We came up, we grabbed liquidity above, I should say, the previous all-time high, and then got a hard rejection, coinciding very nicely with the tariffs for Trump announcing all of his tariffs at the start of the year. Obviously, that dumped the Nasdaq, which in turn dumped Bitcoin, which in turn dumped Solana. Solana here coming down, scything through levels of support. We came down into this area here. Everyone expecting us to bounce at the range high. I thought we could have bounced here, but judging by the momentum to the downside and also looking at what the wider markets were doing, I was thinking we're probably going to continue down. We come all the way down. We retest the low. We get a big, interesting candle here to the upside for Solana, but then we continued down again, as you can see, trying to bounce out of this support area, but we didn't. And then lo and behold, we finally come down and get a sweep of all these wicks here, all this liquidity that must be below this area. We come down, swipe out all this area of liquidity, and then we get a really textbook retest of this $100 psychological level. As you can see, let me just mark this so you can see perfectly where it is. $100, there you go. It's big psychological level that people are going to start piling in at. They're thinking the all-time high is $300, Solana's at $100, surely it's not going to go lower. This is a place where I'm happy to get in. As you can see, this also coincided pretty much with the bottom. We started to see Ethereum and Bitcoin bouncing in this area. And I was thinking, okay, we've just swept liquidity to the left here nicely. We've obviously bounced at a big psychological key level. This is an area that historically we have continued to bounce at pretty much in this area over and over again. We've come all the way down, swept liquidity down towards all the way to $95 here. We're getting a really good reaction out of this area at the $100 area. Bitcoin looks like it's bottoming out. Ethereum looks like it's starting to bounce. So I just basically decided like this was probably going to be the bottom for me. And also, I do trade these fair value gaps, as you can see here. Let me just highlight this with my new colors so you can see. I saw this fair value gap here, and I was like, right, okay, if we inverse this fair value gap back to the upside, we're probably going to come back up through all these levels of liquidity. And you can see here, this is exactly what happened. We came up with a really good momentum candle after bouncing out of this $100 level. You can see this is a really good candle for Solana out of this area. And then I entered a long position in this area here. My stop loss down here, if we closed back below this big fair value gap, as you can see, it's technically all the way down to this little red candle here. So we never closed back below this fair value gap here. And I'm thinking, okay, if we close above this, we've obviously had one day here where we retested this previous level. We bounced again, and then we basically just continued. And then I just held this basically pretty much up to this range high resistance here, where I thought we'd probably get a bit of a rejection. Lo and behold, that's what happened. We came back down. We test the high and the low of that previous range again. And then since then, we've kind of just been grinding to the upside for Solana. People slowly piling in as they're trying to realize what's going on. You can see just higher highs and higher lows here. But recently, obviously, we've started to make a bit of bearish market structure in this immediate short-term area. Clear lower lows and lower highs here, as you can see. On the way up here, we were basically coming up and respecting these big bullish, all these bullish fair value gaps here. Let me just highlight a few of these. We've got this one here that we bounced out of as well. We've got this one here that we bounced out of as well. You can see on the way up here, pretty much all of these big bullish fair value gaps all being respected. You can see we did close below this one, but we immediately bounced, retested, and continued. But recently, as you can see, we have got these fair value gaps. They're starting to form resistance. Obviously, Bitcoin has been dumping the market down somewhat as well. But overall here, Solana, you can see the tail of, we've come up, rejected this daily here. We've come down, we've rejected this daily here. So right now, looking like we're putting in a little bit of a bearish kind of curve right now for Solana's price action, largely, as I said, due to Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin right now in a bit of an interesting situation. You can see we've got a daily fair value gap down here that we're bouncing out of really nicely. Lovely little tap into this before bouncing. We've got one above and one below, and I think basically whichever one of these breaks first is going to dictate where Bitcoin goes. If we bounce, we could see ourselves coming back up into this area here towards 120k for another retest. If we go below, I want to see that 50% getting hit so we can get a bounce like this. Overall, Solana looking fine. Just waiting to see what Bitcoin does next. As always, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Please do like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. Check back every day for daily updates and get some free money in the description below. Cheers.